Hey, there we go. Let's do this again. Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is the blockchain backer bringing you the latest cryptocurrency news and analysis. Yeah, so my device obviously had changed mics because I had traveled to Austin and changed things up. And yeah, so there we go. Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's the blockchain backer. There we go. We're doing well now. Hey, that's the thing about being live, man. These are the types of things that end up happening in here. Let's start over now that I've been rambling for 2 minutes with no audio. I hope that you guys are doing well. Welcome to the new week. Welcome to Markets in the Morning. I'll probably have to edit out the first 2 minutes of this thing. It's Markets in the Morning. Today is May 1st, 2023. As we're getting ready for the stock market to open up here in the next 7 minutes. What we do in Markets in the Morning, obviously, is we take a look at the cryptocurrency price action throughout the weekend or the last couple of days or whatever day in our circumstance right now, obviously throughout the weekend. And then we take a peek at the events that are going on this week to just kind of have our head wrapped around what's coming up, what's next. Before we get started here, we could see that Bitcoin's down slightly this morning. It's down $650 as we start out the new month. It kind of had like a little bit of a sell-off, maybe about an hour and a half after we clicked over to May 1st. The rest of the cryptocurrency market went red with it. So we'll dive into these things right in here. Before we do get started, like you probably saw me just showing this thing. I did post over there on blockchainbacker.substack.com throughout the weekend. It's got a 19-minute audio narration that I did record myself. Worked on this all day Saturday and posted it Saturday night. So that is there for those who are subscribed, and you can subscribe as well to this premium newsletter by going to blockchainbacker.substack.com. So, all right, we have a lot of news going on this week in regards to, we have a Fed rate hike expectation this week. We are in May, right? What's the old saying? The old saying is sell in May, go away. I will be releasing a video this morning after this live stream is over. So I'm definitely not going to let this thing run 2 hours like we sometimes do, because I have a video and I had to stop working on it to come to Markets in the Morning. Then I go back to finishing the video when I'm done, and I want to get that thing released. But sell in May, go away. Is there consistency with that? Is there truth to that at all? We'll take a peek at that. We'll take a peek at the price action and talk about some of the things I learned about in consensus as well. So there we go. Let's go ahead and dive on into the price action. One of the things that I've been looking at, as you guys know, has been, we talked about it on April 5th, somewhat of a short squeeze to come out here. Now we've pulled back into the green box number 1. We have moved back to green box number 2. We have hit up against it twice. And then as May began, we sell off and head back down to the middle of the range. Like I mentioned last week, after we had this kind of chaotic action, just ranging taking place in here seems the most likely to me, even though we didn't really have much data, it still seems to be the thing. Now, if we are to get through the retracement level, so obviously invalidated, if you've seen any of my NFTs, you know there's one in there, the 702 battle. It's me. You see me trying to fight up against that 702 multiple times, then just getting knocked back and knocked onto the ground, and then eventually able to get through it, right? I don't think that's going to be the case here. I do think this is the most likely scenario that I'm seeing right in here, but we've knocked up against it 3 times now already. Should we get through $30,200, that's when I will start saying, whoops, okay, wait a minute. And then especially if we get through $30,500, I will say, okay, forget all this stuff. It seems like something else is at play. But up until this point right now, we can clearly see it. We've gotten into both boxes where the expectations were where we would bounce and where we would retract, and it has behaved that way so far. So just kind of looking forward into it. This is still my thought right here for Bitcoin. As for XRP, nothing different to say in here. Really kind of waiting for one more move down. We get one more move down. That's where I start nibbling for my long-term bags and adding into them. And I will accumulate all the way down to 30 cents. And that's where I will just go ham, as the kids say, adding to my bags if we're able to get much lower than that now. Oscar says, now that we have sound, hit the like button. Yeah. If you can hear me, hit the like button. So XRP is still waddling around, same expectations in here. Bitcoin, same expectations in here. And I've shown you where my invalidations are. This is a simple concept. This is just simple ABCing in here, right? There's no magic to this. This is just really the first leg down, second leg back to retraces, third leg down into further deeper prices, where we do have a volume inefficiency down in here. We've pretty much closed all the volume inefficiencies on Bitcoin everywhere, except for this area right here, between about 25,000 and 27,000. There's still a big gap there, and that just goes back throughout all of history in here, that we do not have any serious trading that has taken place right in there. So if we do head down there, I'd expect a cruel summer, just kind of just waddling in there with most of the market being terrified, as traders typically do. One of the things that we're seeing, kind of similar to like what happens at these B legs right now, is just kind of like the meme coin mania. We're starting to see that kind of show up right now. That typically ends up happening when people are feeling super comfortable. They've lost all of their fear and their panic and their worry, and that we're going to a 12K. They're willing to be incredibly risky and take high bet gambles, even after something is way up. So we're seeing that type of behavior happen in the market. That fear has dissipated, and really, really high risk is willing to be taken. That's, we've seen that before, right? So just kind of keeping that in mind as well. XRP, like we talked about, still just kind of patiently waiting on this thing. As for Ethereum, I wrote about this in my newsletter. I added it to the bcbacker.com update that was added throughout the weekend. This is very mixed signal scenario right in here. There's multiple examples of how this thing can go up, sideways, or down. And the worst part about that as a content creator is that I try to pride myself in avoiding any type of stuff like this. This is the most common thing that technical analysis YouTube does. And then no matter what ends up happening, they end up being right. That was one of the things I noticed before I ever started my YouTube channel, and decided that this was the thing I was going to try to avoid doing. The problem with Ethereum in its current particular location that it's in right now is it's a very difficult read, with it being right here on whether it's Wyckoff accumulation, or if it's going to keep grinding out, or if we're going to follow the 2017 model, in which if we got like kind of a quick breakout right in here, then we're more than welcome to just waddle in here for the rest of the summer and just have our cruel summer at a higher price level. But typically these types of breakouts can come relatively quickly. The concern for that to happen is you would have expected likely that it would have happened here. But as we saw, we pulled back down into the lows. That's not the most optimistic sign to say that is the thing that's going to end up coming. You still have a shot at a growth rate like this. I could show you an example of that really quick. Let's go down to Bitcoin, show you these types of corrections. We're going to get there. We're going to get there. Wow, I've got a lot of junk on here. Okay. So you can see how these corrections can play out in here, and that you can pull back down below. Thing is, you would have kind of hoped that we would have recovered by now. So it's a little bit of on edge right there. But you do see it, right? So we can't play like that. We can just kind of grind our way out of there. But it's definitely like, it's not a like let your guard down situation, for me at least, not with Ethereum in particular, especially since we have the alignment of this appearing here, and we have the alignment of this appearing here for XRP, and that Ethereum did attempt to take the stab but did fail. This is a possibility in here. It is possible, but of course the warning here, or the concern that I have right now, is what we're talking about with some Wyckoff happening. So if we kind of Wyckoff, the thing is, this isn't really your typical correction to go into Wyckoff like this, but you can't be blind to it. So this is, Ethereum is definitely a difficult one. I hate it. I will change the channel immediately if I see this. I will get out immediately and say this is absolute nonsense. So I hate to be the guy to post that. I will not use any bragging, whichever one that comes. We'll use hindsight vision at that time and say, that's what ended up happening. So, all right, Ethereum. As for the stock market just opened 2 minutes ago. Looks like we are up 45 points over here on the Dow. Now, if you remember last week, we started the week off pretty rough, and then the remainder of the week really returned. Look at this candle in here, in that bottom shadow wick that happened in here. That's how we started our week, right there at 33,900. Getting all the way down to 33,350, 33,300 recovering at all and flipping green for the week. We are starting slightly green over here for the Dow Jones, up 50 points currently right now. A little bit of a mixed market over there in regards to equities. You got Ford and GE up. You got Tesla and Coinbase that are down. Yields are up this week, or at least to start the new week, start the day. Looking over here at metals, gold popped up above $2,000 again. So that bearish divergence is it starting to round its way back up? We'll see on that as we talk about a lot. These are inverse. This is the big mamma jamma to watch for the warnings over there for the stock market. If you know anything about bubble pops and what happens in retracements, this can be referred to as the return to normal phase of a bubble pop, where traders become excited that we are going to go set new all-time highs and that everything is going to be great. And this will come in back at retracement levels. And so the return to normal is the wording that is used for this extreme optimism. The thing to just kind of keep in mind, is there any type of return to normal narrative that is going to be happening soon, right? Like, it's literally called return to normal. The one thing that is expected to happen here in May is like the state of emergency over a pandemic with C-19 is expected to come to an end this month in May. So, if you've been if you have health insurance, you've been able to get the tests for free by going into your pharmacy. Every year you're allowed like 4 boxes per person. That ended yesterday because it's expected that the state of emergency or whatever is supposed to come to an end this month in May, and we will return to normal. All is well. It is all over. It is all good. So keep an eye on that. Gold, again, this is the thing I'm really more watching for that. But silver, it's had a pretty aggressive move to start this morning, right? So falling for several weeks, or falling for about 2.5 weeks, and then this morning starting it off with a big pop as the dollar still continues to sit down here at the lows with the US dollar currency index, DXY. So as we start the day, what has happened? As we start the week, Bitcoin starts the day a couple of hours after the clock ticks over to the new day. We take about a 600-point spill. XRP still hanging out in its range, but still not showing any real signs of strength happening in here. Ethereum pulls itself back into these levels as well. Still mixed here in which direction we're going to end up going here for Ethereum. Stock market gets a decent start to the day, but so does gold. Dollar sitting flat down at the lows. The thing that's coming up this week, though, is that we'll have to pay attention to over there on Wednesday, is that we will have the FOMC meeting on Wednesday. 2 o'clock Eastern time there, and it's expected that there's going to be an interest rate hike. The expectation is 0.25%. So we can see right here, 89.5% probability that we are going to see a 0.25% interest rate hike. Only 10.5% chance that we're going to see them pause. So we haven't spent much time this last month talking about it. We're not going to spend a whole lot of time right now because we've kind of beaten this like a let's leave it that pausing is okay, raising is okay. It's when cutting happens, cutting is bad. That's a sign of extreme distress in the market, and typically we don't see markets recover until the cutting cycle is done. So cheering for cuts, that is a signal of problems, right? So imagine what would happen the day they come out and say, hey, there's kind of some problems, so we're going to cut rates. Oh yeah, that's bullish, right? No. So just keep it in mind that, little teeny tiny rate hikes, okay. I think that the concern that the market obviously has is that we're seeing bank failures happening out there. First Republic goes down. JP Morgan has taken it over. Of course, JP Morgan comes in and scoops it up. So there you go. As for news, that's really the only big major highlights I saw. I think the big thing of the week is like we expect on these types of weeks where we have FOMC, where we have the communication coming out, where we get this bank failure happening right before we get the FOMC meeting and minutes and rate hike is, how will the Fed respond to more bank failures happening, right? So the size of the bank failures we're seeing here are in the same magnitude of the great financial crisis from 2008. So, everybody's kind of just ignoring it like it's not happening and like everything is fine. Markets are still holding themselves together during this time, but how will the Fed reply to it and what will be their forward guidance? We typically see volatility on these weeks. So I would expect that this is a volatile week there in broader markets. And a lot of times that translates over there into crypto. So heading on over to crypto news, we could see that second biggest bank failure. Yeah, we just talked about that. There was nothing huge in here that I saw. It says YouTube helps recover hacked channel that attempted XRP crypto scams. So yeah, we've always seen this stuff, right? I guess they took over Do You Know Gaming. I guess they got about 2.2 million subscribers or something. I don't know. So just always remember that, guys. If you send anybody any crypto with the promise that they're going to send you back more, they just need to test your wallet and you send some to them and they send it back, don't do it. There's lots of impersonators out there impersonating me as well. I am not out there DMing. I am not emailing people. I'm not providing lucrative business opportunities for you to invest and send me your crypto. Do not send me your crypto because I'm not asking for it. So, all right. Let's see if there's anything else in there in the news regarding this stuff. Nothing really. So, as you guys know, I just got back from, let me see if there's anything else. That was it, right? So, it's our economic calendar, FOMC, Wednesday. So, that's the big thing the market's going to be waiting for is Wednesday. I guess we live stream that, don't we? Don't we typically live stream that? That's always crazy, right? Wednesday. That'll be good because I leave on Thursday to go to the XRP meetup in Las Vegas. As you guys know, I've been in Austin, Texas for the past week. That was eye-opening. That was great, and I had a great time. But I got data there, which made it all worth it. So that's what was important to me. It was awesome, absolutely phenomenal to meet a bunch of people, shake hands, and take pictures with people. It was great to meet people I respect in this market, like David Schwartz and John Deaton. But at the same time, I'm wanting to build my knowledge and get smarter and be better at what I do by attending these things and learn something. And I did get some data there, and I was so happy to get that. So, yeah. All right. So what's going on this morning? We've got a fall in the crypto market as the month ticked over. This is still my thought process over here on Bitcoin. I've shown you guys invalidation levels. It's a very simple concept. The first initial fall back to retraces, one more fall, and this is a bullish structure in here. So that's just what we're waiting on. XRP, same story. Ethereum, mixed, waiting for that. I've explained that in high detail. Stock market up to start the morning, up 56 points for the Dow, up 3 points for the S&P. NASDAQ down 15, mixed over here in equities with Ford being the leader at 2.5%, Tesla being the loser at 1.75%. Metals are up this morning, dollar about flat. And everybody's keeping their eyes for Wednesday for when the Fed FOMC minutes are released and Jerome Powell speaks. And we get to hear what the rate hike decision is, which the expectations are almost 90% probability that we'll see a 0.25% or 25 basis point rate hike to the current federal funds rate, which currently sits at 4.75% to 5%, expecting it to be raised to 5% to 5.25%. So that's it for this week. Otherwise, as this stuff, we're just looking at ranging. So right now, I'm currently recording a video, making a video, and I took a break from that to come do markets in the morning. So we'll go ahead and hop into the chat, hop into the super chats, see what's going on, and then I'm going to get off of here and go finish my video and get that video out for you guys. Like I said, I'm working on getting back into the routine of videos. I had to take a break because I was working on other videos on the back end. I was still recording videos all day long, very long days of recording videos. I just worked for the YouTube channel. So we'll be getting back into the groove, like I said, full time, starting next week, because as this week is, I'm going to Las Vegas for the XRP meetup. That will interfere with some stuff. And there's also, guys, there's a good chance there won't be a markets in the morning on Friday. So just kind of prepare for that. I leave Thursday. I will do markets in the morning before I leave Thursday, but I have to decide if it's feasible for me to be able to do it on Friday. So just kind of laying that expectation out there right now that there's a chance we don't have markets in the morning on Friday. 6th thicker, I'm so sorry. So, all right, let's go ahead and hop into the chat, see what's going on. Consumer to Blockchain Solutions says, I met BCB last week at XRP meetup, and I can say he's a genuine man of the people. Thanks for all you do. By the way, check out LPT. It's a solid project with a nice chart I think is slept on. Well, thank you, sir. It was a lot of fun meeting people there in Austin. That was great. I appreciate it. Thank you. Oscar Hernandez, right out the gates as well. Thank you, sir. Super chat. Thank you, man. Oh boy, I don't know if I can pronounce your first name. Ionesel Adrian. Yeah. If gold breakouts at the all-time high, will we have an alt season? Well, so what would it mean if gold breaks out of an all-time high is, so that's an answer we don't know no, but we can speculate and guess because we don't have a scenario like that has happened before. But if gold breaks out into its all-time high, what is that likely signaling? It's likely signaling that the stock market is not going to break out into an all-time high, right? And if the stock market is not going to break out into an all-time high, will Bitcoin break out into an all-time high? Unlikely. The 2013, 2017, and 2021 bull runs were all tied to the stock market. All of them breaking out into their new all-time highs were when the stock market was. So if the stock market isn't, then one would have to guess, based on the last 3 breakouts into new all-time highs for Bitcoin for the last, how many years did we just say? 10 years? That Bitcoin's not going to break out into a new all-time high. And so what would that say? It would say it's only going to go into retracement. Well, if we're only going to go into a retracement, those are one of the conditions where alt seasons can happen. Will it happen? We'll all find out together. But if gold breaks out into a new all-time high, this is one of those things why I keep watching it and saying, hey, and being kind of consistent, right, for the last, really forever, that I don't think Bitcoin's going into a new all-time high. That's really been my theory the whole time. So there's nothing that has changed about that. But that Bitcoin would go into a retracement. And what happens when the lure of yield is no longer there and all the money is tied up into something that doesn't have much upside? It rotates. So we'll see. Oscar Hernandez, thank you. Oscar Hernandez's tax accountant says, hey, BCB, question for you. So 121.17, some exchanges show XRP having a negative 53 candle wick. Do you think we'll see a candle like that in the near future? That's going to be illiquidity, right? So that's on Bitstamp only, I believe, is what you're looking at. So XRP was already like breaking out, but then there's some like something that happened. So like on, what did you just see over there on BitTrue like a week ago? There was like a wick that took it down to 0, literally. What did it like liquidated everybody on BitTrue, and it took every stop loss of every single person over there on BitTrue. You know, that it's just like an exchange issue, right? So I guess you could say you've already seen it. So that just happens with illiquid exchanges. Oscar Hernandez's tax accountant, thank you. Crypt Keeper, how'd you like Austin? Did you try Terry Black's? I didn't get a chance to try a lot of different restaurants when I was there, just because it was just so busy, man. I was getting so many steps every day, walking so much, that it was almost just like, you know, kind of get what I could eat. I think I ate at I ate bad while I was there. I think I ate pizza at the hotel 3 times. Oh, not good. But otherwise, how did I like Austin? It seems great. It seemed fine. You know, I was in downtown, so I didn't get a chance to like go around and do like the beautiful scenery stuff or get involved in too much of the culture of Austin. It was more like really participating in the cryptocurrency stuff that was going on down there. Trying to think. There was anything that was like super stood out to me. I don't know. I'll think about it. I had a great time though. Everybody was nice. And then Oscar Hernandez, thank you, Crypt Keeper. Oscar Hernandez, tax accountant. Again, you've referred to some candles having illiquid wicks. Oh, wow. That was just what I was just saying. Can you explain this? Most importantly, would such a wick liquidate my futures positions when moon? So it depends on how thick an order book is on an exchange. So if you're using an exchange that just doesn't have a thick order book, somebody can come in and market sell. So, right, so limit, you say, hey, I want to sell it, but I only want to sell it at this particular price. Market sell says, hey, I want to sell it, and I want to sell it for whatever there isn't a buy offer for right now, and I want to sell this much. And that will go clear the order book all the way down for that number of an asset. And if an exchange does not have much liquidity and it does not have much in the order book, that one particular exchange may have to go way down the order book to be able to fill that out on that market order because it's fulfilling it instantly, unlike a limit order that is just going to fill it at one particular price. So sometimes if somebody's like panic selling, they'll market sell it because they're like, just get me out of here and get me out right now because it's going to get really bad. Because sometimes you can set a limit order. Let's say you wanted to sell 10,000 XRP. You set a limit order at a certain price. The market starts crashing and starts going through that, but there's only like 3,000 XRP that were willing to be bought at that price. And then it just keeps going down and goes right through your limit order, and it doesn't fulfill it because nobody's willing to buy it from you at that price. So what you'll see in panic selling, panic buying is market orders. Is that I'll clear out the order book. It's all good. So if an exchange has a very thin order book, it doesn't have much trading volume on it, we can see those things get cleared out very quickly like that with a whale or somebody with a lot of XRP or a lot of any asset, really. Binance back in the day actually had this happen to them multiple times. Let's see if we can see it on like... There you go. There's Binance for you. Wham, all the XRP took it all the way down to next to nothing, right? So that was this exchange at this particular time, right? I think it happened on other stuff too with Binance. There you go. So this is before these exchanges get really popular, before they have thick order books. So there you go. Thank you, Oscar Hernandez's tax accountant. Ryan Rendon, good morning, everyone. Let's get it this week. Hey, Ryan, what's up, man? I met this guy in Austin. Robert Parsons. Afternoon, BCB. Love watching all your mornings live and like you big on XRP. So I'm following your chart on this and we'll add more when it starts below 40 cents. Thanks for all you do. Right on, man. Hopefully it works out. Thank you, Robert. And that's your first timer, man. Thank you. Ria's Hey Raftifer says, good morning, BCB. I missed you in Austin. Will you update new exit strategy targets on BCB's Teachable for BCH EOS dash Gcash and Litecoin? So I do updates every single month, and any changes that happen in there for me, I make those updates. So that's never changed. I've always been doing updates. And the second we get a retrace on Bitcoin, or if things start getting exciting in the market again, those will be updated. But there's just nothing to say right now as the market is just trying to work its way back up. It's one of those things I've been consistent on that there's no point in me like sitting here giving like weekly updates on each one of these things. It's only when times are pivotal that I do. But as you know, there are updates in there every single month. Jay Jacob, thank you. Does new Bitcoin all-time high mean bigger alt season than RETR, than retrace, right? I don't know. We'll see. Your guess is as good as mine. Hugh D says, if your fractal for XRP plays out, you think we will see the same optimism when we get back up to 59 cents via the 30s? Or do you think people who were bulls a few weeks ago flip bearish by then? That's a good guess, right? So it's just kind of guessing based on what will sentiment be like at the time. It may be people who are in doubt, right? So I think that's what happened in here from my memory, is that I can't really remember what it was like when this finally happened, right? We had done this multiple times. What happened when we finally got here, but it's the same behavior we see right now. And I remember it because I was new in XRP in this time. Every time it started firing, you would think, this is it. You grab it, wrecked. This is it, grab it, wrecked. This is it, grab it, wrecked. And these aren't small percentages, right? Like up 100%, down 50%, right? Top of the range, bottom range, top of the range, bottom of the range. And newcomers to crypto don't realize this is the environment you're getting yourself into. And it's not made for most of these children that are in here that are on Twitter. We know it's not most people on Twitter, but there's a lot of them. So I wish I could remember. I definitely remember this. This was it. You were a laughing stock if you were in XRP at this time, right? A complete laughing stock. Bitcoin's at $17,000. Ethereum's at 1,200 or something, maybe 1,000. Both of them are way up. You know, Bitcoin's since this moment in time, XRP's down 50%. Since this moment in time, Bitcoin's up another 800%. And the toxicity was as high as I can remember. But I absolutely, I can still see it playing in my brain, which is so crazy. Like watching the 15-minute chart when this moment happened, when we got through that. I don't know why that's still so engraved in my brain that I remember it. Then when watching the 15-minute chart and seeing that get cleared and saying, oh my goodness, here we go. But I just don't really remember what happened here because I think it actually happened so fast. It was definitely super ridiculously toxic down in here. You were a laughing stock of the cryptocurrency market if you were in XRP. But when this moment happened and we got back here, I don't think there was really even enough time from my memory of watching that 15-minute candle get through there that it happened so fast. And then off and away it went. So, we'll see, right? We'll see if it gets back there and if it struggles or if it just kind of gets right through it. But thank you, Hugh. A2, BCB, glad to get these updates. I learn more every day. By the way, please check your DMTR Dimitria. It's a strong sleeper AI for small farmers. Okay. All right. Thank you, A2. Crypto Ryan says, I appreciate the kind words. I don't know about that coin, but I appreciate the kind words. Crypto Ryan 17 says, BCB, check my tweet. Market psychology of Pepe versus Bitcoin. People quick to forget how these things play out. Same handle as my name on here. Right. Yeah, that's the thing too. Watching this, like 4 months ago, the whole community of crypto convinced we're going to 12K, toxic as can possibly be. We get right back here and everybody's yellowing into Pepe. It's got the wrong footing signature written all over it. So careful out there. But okay, thank you, Crypto Ryan. I'll check it out. Keep my eye out for it. Thank you. William Kozilski, first timer. No message, but I'm going to bet he's going to come in later with a message. I see that all the time. I wonder what happens on that first time that people kind of miss it. Happens all the time. Chris DeLeon, happy Monday, my dudes. Hit that like button. BCB, you're our crypto daddy. Okay. Thank you, Chris DeLeon. And I agree with you. Hit the like button. It's the number one way you can support the channel. And anything I do on live streams, on videos, right? Super chats, those things are not necessary. Of course, I'm grateful for them and appreciative of them. Not necessary. The number one thing to always help the channel is just a nice little like. And the kind comments go a long way too. I do see those. Mr. Nobody. I had to go to Brazil last week for work. I couldn't watch live, but brought my Fire Stick and watched markets in the morning on my hotel TV at night. It felt just like home. That's awesome. It was weird doing markets in the morning while I was there because I didn't have my normal routine. My normal routine is to get up. If I get up at 4 o'clock in the morning, I'm working out by 5 o'clock in the morning, shower, get kids to school, and then hop onto the markets in the morning. And so my routine was definitely not that while I was there. My routine was like wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning, work out at 7:30 and no, work out at 7 o'clock in the morning, be done by 7:45, and then get ready for markets in the morning. That was interesting there. It felt weird. But sweet, man. Thanks for taking me along. We were both not in our normal places with markets in the morning. William Kozilski, if XRP high wasn't 384, where do you pull fibs from? I don't know who is. Okay. The high was 330. Why is everybody arguing over this $3.84 thing? The high was 330. Right? So first of all, the concern I have about this is just because of so many years and increased circulated supply, I'm not so certain about $13 anymore, right? So that's where your fib takes you on a $3.30 XRP, gets you out to, in that $13 level. If you compare it to Ethereum's market cap, catching up to Ethereum's market cap, a 4.236 extension of the XRP market cap, that number's closer to like that $11 area now. Why are we all arguing over 384 or something? What's up with that? I know David commented on that and said we never went to 384. I'm wondering why we're all I don't know why we're all arguing over 384. Oscar Hernandez, thank you, says hit the like button. William Kozilski, I hope that answers your question. Thank you, though. Verano Avila says, if you add the 1.414 fib, where do we even get 1.414? Why would we use a 1.414? Let's just have fun with this. So let's do math. Point 414 over 0.618. That's a weird number to be using. Okay. Why are we using Verano says if you add the 1.414 fib level to the chart, starting from 2017 all-time high to 2018 trough, Bitcoin's been consolidating between 1.618 and 1.414. Any ideas? I don't see any mathematical reason to use a 1.414 fib. The only reason I even add this one right here, 702, the only reason this one even gets added is it's the halfway point between 618 and 786, and the market historically frequently reacts to it. But just adding kind of arbitrary random numbers in there is not something I'd find any value. Now, if you went out and you found 15 charts that somehow are responding to that 1.414 level, then you might have found some type of magic, and that would be something you would want to share, or not, keep it to yourself. But that would give you like consistency, right? As for 1.414, I don't think there's a reason to entertain it. Not to be rude, just to be sincere. I don't think I'd entertain that. Oscar Hernandez, when Mune. My typical go-to is to say the day that you sell. But Oscar, come on. You're part of the train. All right. Ryan, remember, it was awesome meeting BCB at Consensus. He's super cool and a man of the people. Oh, yeah. P.S. Let's smash that like. Yep, I did. I met Ryan. Met him at the Hilton Hotel, and then met him at some club, right? So that's the thing about this too, is that like the nightlife there is just like loud clubs, which is not really my jam. Just going to loud clubs with a bunch of dudes And we just have music blasting in our ears, just kind of yelling over each other at these loud clubs where everybody's drinking. So I spent a lot of my like late nights just hanging out in my hotel, hanging out in Twitter Spaces, listening to XRPP, the true celebrity. Thank you, Ryan. Oscar, again, thank you, sir. Last week I realized the after party won't show on reruns. What happens in the after party stays in the after party. I wonder what after party you're talking about. I don't know. I realized the after party won't show on reruns. What happens in the after party stays in the after party. I don't know what we're talking about. Alex Santiago, the same happened to me. The super chat I had to figure out. Was hard to figure out initially. Have a blessed day, bro. Will you add calls to your newsletter someday? Unlikely. But one thing I talked about in there is like learning about data. So the thing about being in consensus is like I got some access to some new data, and I've been like last night. It's been ridiculous. I like figured it out. I haven't taken a day off from Blockchain Backer in about 2.5 weeks. I've been doing 8 to 10 hour days every day for 2.5 weeks. I haven't taken a day off yet. Last night was no different. I was doing stuff till about 11 o'clock at night last night. Just data deep diving into consistencies between developer growth in 2019, 20, 21, and 22, and how those assets performed in 2021. And so that is now one of my focuses on figuring out coins that I'm going to accumulate. So I will be sharing that data and my discoveries in the newsletter in the second newsletter of May. I won't have it ready for I do 2 newsletters a month, and I won't have it ready for the second one or for the first one, but for the second one. So I will be talking about that and then giving really good justifications why, and then the flaws with the stuff that I chose in the past and things I probably should have noticed, but didn't know how to access that information. And with the information that we have, we can kind of see certain behaviors that were happening. Things people don't know about 2017, 2018, 2019, when it comes to Bitcoin Cash and EOS, right? Those are the ones I typically take it on the chin the most for. In those years, when you look at developer growth and developer activity, GitHub commits, what were the blockchains that people were flocking to, and what had the most transaction volume behind Bitcoin and Ethereum? Number 1 and number 2 were EOS and Bitcoin Cash. EOS had an enormous developer community that was growing rapidly. The things that you think are great now, like your Cosmos, your Cardanos, who else? Polkadots, right? Those are all like your top ones up in there behind Ethereum. EOS smashed all of those. It was the highest developer total that was happening. But in 2019, we started to see that start just kind of wane off. And then especially in 2020, we started to see it wane off. And if you really look at the data and you start like analyzing, all right, and even though they still had a tremendous amount of developers, the trend was going the wrong way for developers. And if you look at a lot of the assets that had developer growth happening with them in 2019 and 2020, and even though they didn't have nearly as many developers as EOS did, or nearly as much transaction volume as Bitcoin Cash did, those ones that were in the upward trajectory of developer growth did very well in 2021. So I'm paying attention to that, trying to analyze that data, and present that in there come the second newsletter of May. So, and I talk about some of that stuff and where I'm pulling that data from in this newsletter right in here. So consensus was worth it to me, man. First of all, it was totally worth it to meet everybody. Man, you guys made me feel good. The things you have to say, it's super humbling. It was absolutely incredible. I had I met a lot of people. There's a couple of those meetings that I had that will forever be in my brain. I will never forget what it was like meeting you. Just I was shocked because you were so shocked to see me. I'm like, in my mind, I'm just a guy, but you guys had some insanely nice things to say. And it was super humbling to meet you. I will not forget it. So thank you very much for that experience. But outside of that, and outside of like getting to eat dinner with John Deaton, getting to meet David Schwartz, getting to sit in the front row and watch David Schwartz speak for 30, 45 minutes, and hanging out in the XRPL zone, the getting the data was like one of the most important things that I took home with me that I'm super happy about, because it's not cheap to go do something like that, right? To go travel, spend days doing that. There's a cost there for that. And being away from my family, I wanted to bring something home with me. And that was a big take home, a big takeaway from me. I thought a lot of the panels weren't that important to me. And, they're talking about regulation and stuff like that. It's like, okay, I know about that, man. I've been dealing with that for 2.5 years. I get welcome to the party. Okay, congratulations. But when it came to like getting data, that was what was being able to research and get a leg up on what was going on. And not only that, get data that I can analyze, not just like straightforward data, but analytical data, and like be able to like keep track of it over time, and hopefully be able to make decisions on it based on what the trend is with underlying data outside of the price charts. Yeah. So if you didn't catch it on Saturday, I lost my cool on Twitter on Saturday because Twitter has implemented the suppression of words. They will not let you say Substack on Twitter. I just gotten done traveling, obviously, as you guys know, Tuesday through Friday, being in Austin. Spent 8 hours writing and recording this thing on Saturday. I ate no food all day because I'm sitting here just keyboarding it up and recording all day. I post the dang thing, and Twitter suppresses the word Substack. So I got pissed. So yeah, it's nonsense. Obviously, they're trying to push their subscribe feature on there. Good luck to those who did it. I had posted that I had been subscribe is rebranded SuperFollow, right? So as you guys may have known, I had SuperFollow on my Twitter for quite some time. I was actually the number 2 in the world. The only person who was ahead of me was Pulte. However, the bads outweighed the goods on that, and I had opted to discontinue having SuperFollows, which is now branded as subscribe. So good luck to all of those who opt to do that. Yeah. Good luck. I'm not changing, dude. We're sticking to Substack. Forget that subscribe nonsense. All right. My tweets will be free. All right, guys. So let me see anything else in here. XRP 923. What price do you think XRP will bottom at? Well, we can only kind of go with models. First of all, you see this model, right? This model takes you all the way down to 30 cents. But the concept of it all is that if this is Wyckoff accumulation, you would expect the low to hold. So that's your floor down there at about 29. We'll just see how things get going. So if we start seeing the clear, right? If you start seeing clear stuff again of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, rolling back up, then maybe not as low, but it's picking where that wick at the bottom is going to be the hardest. One would just expect it to not go lower than the low. Let's get all this off the screen. Get it all pretty again. There we go. If we do go take out that low, that is not pretty for XRP. If that 29, man, when we were down in here, I was saying, hey, look, that's the completion, right? We had been talking about this for weeks at this point. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, rolls back up to wave 4 within wave 5, 7. At this point, the typical stuff I always get, no, BCB, you're wrong. We're going to 22 cents. We go back to 58. People will be screaming for that again. I just don't think they realize a break of this particular price level in here. If you sell your stuff here hoping for 22 cents, you're cheering for just a really long period of garbage for XRP for a long time. That's a significant level right there to hold on the weekly, monthly, and yearly time frame. So you do not want to see 29 cents get broken. If 29 cents gets broken and we're closing daily candles below it, if we close any daily candles below it, that will not be an optimistic sign for XRP. So that was the most not. There was obviously a content creator telling them it was going to 22 cents because I got that so many times. But that would have been a devastating blow. It was very, very, I was saying that's wrong. It's not. And if it does, and you're bullish on XRP, you shouldn't be bullish on XRP if you think 22 cents is coming. So in Wyckoff, we should hold the lows. We could dip even below that wick right there. We could come right back in here and then go. Or it could hold higher. There is no like rule that we have to hold 33.851 cents. And bottoms and wicks and bottoms are going to be your hardest thing. The hard rule is we shouldn't be taking out this low. So that's it. Yeah. Let's see what a trend line would look like. You know, I hate trend lines. Do not look at my trend line. Yeah, ugly. Don't like it. Okay. George Alexandropoulos, you use the 4.236 extension for tops. What do you look for after that for bottoms? What do you look for after that for So fibs are not going to really get you your bottoms. You're more so going to have to on the crashing structure. And so this was great when I was in Austin as well. Is I had someone come up to me while I was at the XRPL zone, and he was showing me how he had used the crashing structure to nail the bottom of an asset. And that is probably the number one thing to learn, is to just understand the concept of that. Is that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 shorts are closing, final capitulation, and that's it. As for using a fib to figure out where that's going to happen at, it's a lot harder. You're going to have to be looking more at indicators, looking for bullish divergences to emerge, understanding a crashing structure and Wyckoff accumulation that would be happening in here. So using fibs is much more difficult on bottom catching. And I've said this, I said this when I said the top of Bitcoin was in back in 2021, that on this day when I made the video said the bear market strikes, and started outlining how I could imagine the bear market playing out for Bitcoin, is that I've always said bear markets are incredibly more difficult to navigate than bull markets. They're much harder just because we don't have those same extension tools to go out to find tops. Bottoms are way, way harder to find. And the thing is just trying to say, what do we consistently see in a crashing structure that marks a bottom? And these are usually the things that we do see, is that we end up seeing a big excessive wave down that usually has 5 clear waves, followed by the shorts closing to go back up to wave 4, and then our excessive wave. And that excessive wave can mark our bottoms, but it's way, way more difficult to do it with fibs. You're just not gonna catch it as often with any type of fibs. So, all right, there we go. We're 55 minutes in. As Oscar Hernandez says, hit the like button. It is Monday morning on May 1st. We'll take one more quick peek over here at the charts. Bitcoin sitting at 28,536. We know this has been my thought process for the last few weeks. So far, we're still just ranging as we were at the end of the week. I don't think the price move that we saw today has any type of significant meaning to it, beyond the fact that it's just staying in the middle of the range. So we'll see what the structure looks like. Should we move back down to the bottom of the range? If you break out of the top of it, it's just, we're waiting. Break one side, and then we're good. What we do know so far is that we had our short squeeze, our pullback into the green bucks, our move back up into the green bucks, and then now we're stuck and struggling and ranging in here. Not a whole lot to say until Bitcoin can make a decision on there. My grander thought, my best guess has been this. So far, it has bounced from both boxes up until this point. XRP still just waddling around in here. Are we deeper into this thing than we think? We'll keep an eye on it for some clear structures to emerge. I don't have a very clear read on structures in there for that to emerge. As I talk about with crashing structures too, and I mentioned this to the guy I was talking to at the XRPL zone, you're typically not going to be able to catch these things until you're down in here. Once you're down in here, you're kind of like, oh, wait, okay, now things are starting to get clear. And then you kind of start sitting there and you're watching this start to happen and you're getting back there and you're just kind of saying, okay, I'm going to be patient now. Then that comes and then it's go time. But you're usually not going to recognize this until it's finally way down in it. And that's just how the crashing structure ends up working. It's hard to pinpoint that early on. Right here, I don't see anything clear telling me that we have completed some type of crash happening in here. But that maybe we're just kind of working our way in currently right now. So XRP is still just a waiting game. There's good development activity happening over there on XRP. I was really happy to see that in the data. I was happy to see the enthusiasm at the XRPL zone. But just due to market conditions, this is likely the scenario that I'm going with at this point. Ethereum still, whether or not it's going to break out and follow the 2017 super cycle or waddle its way out as Bitcoin did in 2017, or if we have a Wyckoff spring coming. I dive into that a little bit more in the video I will be releasing today. As for the stock market's up over 100 points today for the Dow Jones. The Dow is up 105 points coming off of a strong end to last week, which started out pretty sketchy, only for it to recover. Gold is now, gold lost some of its juice that it had this morning. We saw gold shoot up, now shooting back down. How about silver? Silver also loses it all. How about that? So that's a more optimistic sign for equities. But this has kind of been our story for the last 6 months, that we just can't get an answer yet from the stock market in regards to the retracement levels or from gold breaking out into the all-time highs. They just are still in that constant battle going on currently right now. The big thing that we're all going to be keeping our eye on this week is going to be the Federal Reserve interest rate hike that comes on Wednesday. We will live stream that as we typically do. We usually see volatility. We'll pull up the charts, we'll put them on there on smaller time frames to watch the volatility happen live, to see how the market responds to Jerome Powell's speech. So we'll do that. That's going to be at 2 o'clock Eastern time on Wednesday. Then on Thursday, just a reminder, we'll do markets in the morning. I will be flying out to Las Vegas on Thursday for the XRP community meetup. It is questionable whether or not there is going to be a markets in the morning on Friday. So I'm just kind of laying that down right now. There is a chance we will not have markets in the morning on Friday, but I will try to keep things updated over there on Twitter. Otherwise, if you want to check out the newsletter that I wrote over there on Saturday, you can check it out at blockchainbacker.substack.com. 19-minute audio recorded that has been narrated by me. On that note, guys, Sick Thinker gifted 5 blockchain backer memberships. Man, thank you. All right, guys, I'm going to go ahead and get back to recording my YouTube video because, like I said, we get back into getting some videos on there. We'll be back into the normal swing of things when I get back from Vegas next week, but we'll still get some videos out this week. So I'm working on that right now. I'm going to hop off of here, and I'm going to wrap that thing up and get that video released. So I hope that you guys are doing well. I hope that you had a wonderful weekend. Bitcoin struggling right there at the start of the month, but this is nothing we haven't talked about in regard to ranging behavior here. So we'll see how things go. But all right, guys, that's going to be it for this one. I want to thank you so much for watching. If you could, please like this. What do I say? I struggled at the beginning of this, right? I have 2 minutes of dead air at the beginning of this thing. All right, if you could, please like this live stream and give it a thumbs up. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe and hit the notification bell so you can be notified of when I create new content and when I go live. As always, this is not investment advice, and I am not a financial advisor. But if you ever need a pick-me-up or a little bit of reassurance, just remember that the blockchain backers got your back. Have a good one.